So let's go through from the beginning about modeling this bridge using our GeoGebra. So first of all, I'm going to add my image. Here's my file. Golden Gate Bridge. So you'll have that. Click OK. Now you can see it's all distorted. I've got my points A and B which relate to the corners, so we could do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on where it says picture over here, and then in the options that come up on this side, get rid of that box, I can click position and I've corner A, B, but I'm going to have center image. Okay. And I'm going to put center 0 if it disappears. Okay, and there I have my image in sort of a place I can work with it. It's not in the right place at the moment. Okay. Now another thing I have got, you've got this A point in here. We don't really want that. That will confuse other things. So over here, look, this is the list of all the things on my screen. So I can click on point A and I can delete point A. Doesn't change anything. Okay, so now the important thing is that we get the bridge to the position we want it to be. So we can click and drag. So we try and click and drag and it won't work. So what I'm going to do again, you might say, well, we've just done that. There probably is a better way. So I'm kind of finding my way through it. I'm going to click on my pick again, this time position, and now I'm going to uncenter it. Okay. Puts it now in a place. Again, I can at least drag it. It's not distorted or anything. So I can drag it around. Now the idea is that I'm going to try and line up my axes on there, or just try and line up parts of the bridge might be better off, and just ignore the fact that there are axes there at all. So one little tool to help me, again, if I click on picture there, I can go on color and I can go on to opacity and I can make it look faded, and that's useful because then I can click and drag and line things up however I want without having to guess. Okay, so I'm going to do this. I'm actually going to not line up my axes. This time I'm going to line up the bottom of the road. So my cable is actually above, right? But I am going to line up the axes, the y-axis for the center, because I think that's where they've got that where I want it. All right, so now I can go back to click on that, color, and I can put it back up. I want to do it that way, right? So I'm kind of happy, but what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to do it just so I can see the numbers, because we had it at the wrong size before. So we're going to look at trying to set the size. And now the way we can do that, on this right hand side you'll see some options, and if we click the triangle and circle, we've got the dimensions of the picture, right? So we want a good idea as to what size the picture is going to be and where I want it on my axes. So that's going to be a bit hit and miss. Now I was saying the bridge is 227 meters high, so I'm assuming, may be wrong, as we said, that's something to look up, that from the roadway to the top here is going to be 227 meters. Again, might be completely wrong, but I'm going to have to research. So I'm going to put in a line that says y equals 227. Okay, and you'll see that I put a black line in. Now this is just a gauge that I can see how high my towers actually are, and I'm going to try and get the top of the towers to be at the 227 meters. So these values are the dimensions of the picture. Okay, right. So what I'm going to do is change my y values to try and make it so the top of my towers meet this line. So I've got 402. I might decide for 400. Let's enter. It drops a little bit, not much. Let's show you. If I do 380. Drops down quite a bit below. All right, so let's go for 390. It's about right, but there is a problem in that now, slightly look, we've dropped below. Okay, So we need to play around with the minimum. So let's see what impact. I've put that to negative 250 from 249. See, that's moved it back up a little bit, 252, a little bit more, 255, it's a bit trial and error. Right, 257, let's do 260. Right, so I'm kind of happy with that, but we have gone above, so it is going to be a bit trial and error, guys, until you're happy. So modeling, we have to put a bit of effort in to set it up to start with, right? So I might be happy. I can actually maybe drag the picture a bit now. Can click back here, change that again slightly. Let's do 380. Right. And I'm kind. Let's just 379. Right. So I'm kind of happy with that. Right. So I can see the peaks of my towers are on that line. That's 227 meters tall, according to that function, and the line is just on the bridge. So there's a combination of changing the dimensions and dragging it. Now on the X, you can see, well, I wanted it to be 2,737, so I've gone for the picture being 2,306, and that takes me to a certain point along the axis, which may or may not be what you want for the length. So if we're going to be half of 2,737, we want to be about 1,360. So we're a bit too fast. So let's change. Now this time we're on the X's, all right? So let's change it a bit. So we're quite a way out. So let's try if I just change it to 2,000. Okay. We're changing things completely. We can always go back to where we were. Right? Remember, the idea is that we have things in the middle, right? But you can play around with this number to try and make it fit where you want it to fit. So I'm going to be happy enough. I'm going to make it on top again. Opacity back up to 100%, but this time, get rid of that. I'm going to go to my picture and I'm going to make it a background image. Now I've kind of got my points where I want them to be. My y equals 227 has gone, so just say y equals 227 just to show you it's been affected a bit with my back, but you know how to set things up now. So let's get rid of that. All right, so I've set my picture up. It's the right dimensions. I've made it a background image. It's lined up the axes with the road, not with the axes on the picture. It depends on what you want to do. And then I'm going to start putting some points in. Something else to consider now, when I want to put my points in, we want to be able to put them where we want them to go. Okay, so if we again click on this option, settings, we're on here again, triangle and circle, and this time I'm going to click on grid. So we were on basic, we can do things with the axes showing numbers and things we want, but we're on grid. I'm going to go to point capturing is off. If you have it on snap to grid or fixed to grid or automatic, it kind of helps you put it in a particular point. But I'm going to put it as off, because then when I put a point in, so here's my point tool, when I put a point in, it goes exactly where I want it to be. Okay, not snapping to a particular point where it thinks I might want it to be. So here are my 3 points. So one of the important ones to have for us when we get our equation of our line is to have when x is 0, because that gives me the plus c. So we can put that in. Right. Got 3 points, either end and the vertex. That'd be quite useful. It'd be quite nice though if I can put a few other points in so that when I put my function in after I've worked it out, I can see how close it is. Right. What we can then do, for just so we can see what's happening, I can go to my pick here, click it off, and my picture is now gone. It's not gone, but it's just not being shown, and you can see the shape caused. Okay, so when you try and fit your function, I'm going to type in my function y equals, and you'll have ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, I get sliders because that'll help me work out. Right, but you use your 3 coordinates to figure out what A, B, and C is, and it fits it. So we can see using our slider now, it doesn't give me the option to go much smaller, so I can do it in here if I want to, but that's not what we're looking at. So you're going to figure out what the A, B, and the C will be, put them in, come up with your quadratic that fits this curve. Okay, right. Hopefully your curve will then fit nicely, and that will model that part of the bridge.